Oh, Jesus. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, hey, boss. Sorry I'm late. I've got all the things that you asked of me. I think our 2024 will look great. I think we're in for another successful year. I've got some scripts and other things that I really think you should check out right down here. So, yeah. Let's talk about 2024. Dropping the skid a little bit. Hi, everybody. It's me. I'm really glad that you decided to tune into my channel. I'm really thankful for the support of the last video. It's been a passion project of mine to talk about Skylanders for a long time, and I'm glad that you're tuning back in. If you're some of our new people, welcome back, and thank you for subscribing from the last one. And yeah, so this video is just going to kind of exist to talk about movies and TV shows of this year, and video games as well, just kind of all media in general. Today I kind of want to talk about the things that were overlooked a little bit throughout the year. Not so much the big things like, you probably saw Deadpool and Wolverine. I don't need to pitch that to you as an idea. But I would like to pitch some things that I think were underrepresented throughout the year that I think need to be watched. Not so much that they're of cultural impact, but so that they are artistic forms that I think deserve to have the spotlight on them too. Some of them may be indie, some of them may be bigger budget, but regardless, I think you should watch these. And I just kind of want to talk about it. Before we get into it, wow, we are almost at 100 subscribers. Thank you. Cheers. 95 is a big number. 5 more will make it to the triple digits. It's something I've been wanting to do for a long time, and I really thank you all for subscribing. It really means a lot to me. And I'm just glad that you guys are enjoying it. I plan on releasing a few more short films throughout this year, at least, and to keep talking about stuff, because I really like to talk some more video games with you all, and delve into some movies too. I know I'm not the greatest reviewer, but I still enjoy doing it, and I hope I can hone my craft. Today we're drinking peach tea. If you want to join me, go get a glass. Yeah, and let's begin. So, I'm breaking the illusion a little bit. Here's my phone. I don't need the bulkiness. So, some things I do want to talk about before we go into. I narrowed this list down to 10 things I want to talk about, but some honorable mentions beforehand that I also think, if you have time, go check them out, because they're great too. The movie, Juror Number 2. It's a Max original. It's really good. It's got Nicholas Hoult in it, and God, he's fabulous. Squid Game Season 2 just came out. It's blown up. I originally had it on this list because I didn't really see many people talking about it. But then the memes started coming out, and now people are talking about it. Nosferatu. Wow. I originally also had this on the list, but it's been getting covered. You've heard about it. One of the most beautiful movies I've seen in a long time. Robert Eggers, I had never seen anything else from him, but this really just blew me away. The performances, the cinematography, the lighting. God, the lighting. It is beautiful. Nicholas Hoult, he's in this one too. I've seen, aside from Aaron Taylor Johnson, that I've never seen before. He was fantastic. Lily Rose Depp, oh, she did a good job. And Bill Skarsgård, dude. He can play monsters. He's great at it. He can't play the Crow. Well, I don't know. I haven't really seen it. But I heard it wasn't very good. But he definitely redeemed himself with this because, wow. But let's get into the top 10 list. I think it's going to be lots of fun. So we'll start out with the number. Okay. So, Shadow Generations. This was the year of Shadow. According to Saga, and I do not have Sonic 3 on here, though it was extremely fun too, and I think I want to talk about that and other Sonic things in another video, because after I saw that, I went on a Sonic binge. I did 1, 2, 3 and Knuckles, CD, Adventure 1, Adventure 2, Generations, unfortunately Forces again, Mania. I think I've become a Sonic fan and I don't know how to feel about it. Sonic Generations, great game, it's an iconic one. Everybody knows this. In a few years, Sonic fans will hate it. It's just what they do. We do now, I guess. I guess I'm lumped in with that. But we're not talking about Sonic Generations, because I know you know that Sonic Generations is pretty darn good. Let's talk about Shadow Generations. So this refines what Sonic Generations built upon via gameplay, via story, the aesthetics, it's all pumped up from what Sonic Generations did with the Shadow flair. And overall, I think Shadow's just a much more interesting character than Sonic to begin with. He's got a lot of tragedy to his character, and he's got a lot of fun, you know, it's kind of the 2000s edge that Sonic kind of lost. The cool thing I like about this one is that the story is just so much more present. In the first one, it's a very generic kind of Sonic story. Yeah, I gotta go and defeat Eggman. They don't know it's Eggman at first, but it's Eggman. Spoilers for Sonic Generations, I guess. But in Shadow Generations, he has to go stop Black Doom again, like he did in Shadow. So it brings all this kind of trauma with him and all of these past experiences. And with Shadow's past experiences, he's got a lot of things that haunt him. So having this Time Eater as a threat and plunging him into the story of Sonic Generations really gets to bring out a lot of character potential within Shadow. And I think he really shines here. Gameplay-wise, it's like Sonic Generations put on crack. He gets all these cool new abilities that are kind of reminiscent of the different kind of paths that you can take in Shadow the Hedgehog. But he gets things like wings, he can swim, he's got this octopus form, and it's really cool, and it really spices up the gameplay. And Chaos Control is such a neat mechanic. I mean, it's like his thing, but to see it in action here is just super fun. And they kind of bring back so much stuff and so much lore from the Sonic series that they kind of just moved away from in the modern games. It's so cool. And yeah, I do think that they didn't do quite a lot to Sonic Generations gameplay, but Shadows just feels smoother. It feels like these levels were designed with a slightly more knowledge of how the boost system works. Because by Sonic Generations, there had only been 2 boost style games with Colors and Unleashed, so it felt like they hadn't fully mastered that now. Now you get to see the mastery of that craft put into this game. And the levels are great. It's great to see more things from games that we already got in the original Sonic Generations. Adding some of the ones from the future games is definitely a choice. I love horror movies. Horror movies are fantastic. I didn't get to see as many as I would like to this year. But one that I did specifically go to the theater for was Terrifier 3. Now, before this, I hadn't seen any of the other Terrifiers. I watched Terrifier 1 and 2 right before this. Oh my god, Damien Leone? This guy! What a madman! This movie is so fun. It feels so nice to have a modern day slasher movie, and he delivers. Art the Clown, such a good character. Howard Thornton does just such phenomenal body work with it. He is so good. And the gore, oh my god, the gore, the kills is so good. I know this one isn't for everybody, but if you are a horror fan and you were like me and hadn't checked out Terrifier, go check him out. If you like Halloween or Friday the 13th, or especially Nightmare on Elm Street, check this series out, guys. They are doing amazing things with such a low budget. It is fantastic. And they've started developing this overarching story with Terrifier 3, and it is just so fun. It is a fun movie, just pure fun. And I'm glad it made so much money compared to its budget, because I want to see the 4th and 5th. I believe he said there are only going to be 2 more, and I think that's a good thing. Ended on a high note, but right now I'm so glad to just have a classic slasher back. It's so great. And the Christmas shenanigans are just so fun. It is the perfect Christmas movie for you to watch with your family. Just kidding. Don't actually do this. Are you stupid? Don't actually do that. Why are you listening to me? It was a joke. I'm watching you. Person who didn't get the joke. Yeah. The one major thing I have on here, I think, the only one on here that I really think was like a major release, and I mean it's been talked about a little bit, but you should go check it out, especially if you're not an Xbox player when it comes out on PlayStation. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. Wow. What an Indiana Jones movie. I mean, it perfectly captures what Indiana Jones should be. And I'm just so happy that we actually have a good Indiana Jones story, you know. It only took 2 movies, but we're finally here, and it took Bethesda to tell it. Okay, look, I know the other 2 movies have their defenders, but God, it captures the Indiana Jones essence so well. It feels like Raiders of the Lost Ark. It really does. It has the kind of campiness, the action, the tone. Oh my God, the music. The music in this game makes me want to cry. It is so good. And I know some of them are just reused tracks from the movies, but even the modern tracks, they just pack such a punch. Troy Baker does a fantastic job here. It is almost indistinguishable from Harrison Ford's. I can tell it's not, because I've listened to Harrison Ford a lot. I like Indiana Jones, I like Star Wars, I've seen him in lots of movies. I spent so long just exploring the Vatican. There's so much to do in this game, in each of the worlds, and it feels so lived in. Like, not many games can do this, but I think this is where Bethesda really excels in their world building. Things like Skyrim or Fallout just feel like such lived-in worlds, and to have that for Indiana Jones is just such a phenomenal experience. Because you look back at something like Raiders of the Lost Ark in Egypt, that feels like a lived-in world. There are so many extras around, there's so many people, it just feels like it's real. This is how it feels here. There are so many just people there's just so many people wandering around. There's this courtyard section where some of Mussolini's men are there, and there are multiple ways you can approach stealing things from their tent. And it just gives you so many options. It feels like an open world game without it being an open world game. So Hugh Grant is so good as a villain. Heretic is so good as a script. Put those things together and you get one fucking good movie. So the whole movie can be seen as kind of controversial. It's about religion, it's about debate, and I think it poses some really interesting questions for both sides of the argument. You get Hugh Grant's character, Mr. Reed, in this kind of antagonistic role to these 2 Mormon girls who show up at his house. And he plays as a villain, not as a villain, but just as kind of a guy. And that's what makes it so scary. On the surface, yeah, he seems friendly, but during this interaction with these girls, you kind of feel like they're in danger, and they do such a good job with the cinematography, conveying in his little house, kind of gets this claustrophobic feeling. I'm so glad that he was nominated for a Golden Globe. He deserves it. He didn't win, but I'm glad he was there, because he was so good in this movie. The visuals, also, so good. It shows what you can do with a good location. And I think his house, just being this weird amalgamation of different, like, ideological practices is such an interesting idea. And he's conveying his kind of lack of trust in religion to these girls. And it's such an interesting dichotomy because they are Mormons and they heavily believe in this. And I think they play off of each other extremely well. And we don't even really get any of the horror stuff until over halfway through this movie. And it is, I argue, the first half is more compelling than the horror movie half. It's so fantastic, and I can't recommend it more. If there are 3 horror movies you need to check out from this year, Terrifier 3, Heretic, and Nosferatu. They are all fantastic. Alien Romulus is good too, you should check that out. Getting off track, but it's so good. It's just so good. Okay, we talked about some horror movies. Let's lighten up the subject a bit. Saturday night. Oh my God, this is the biggest surprise to me of the year. I didn't care to see this movie at all. Like, I saw the trailers. I'm on Saturday Night Live. Not really my cup of tea. But yeah, I wasn't really interested in this movie. Then I saw the movie. Wow. Oh, it's... So, if you're an actor or an art maker in live art, like me, I'm an actor and I do other things in theater. This really captures the chaotic feeling of opening night, or production in general. it's so good at portraying controlled chaos. Everything's chaotic, but it feels like the director knows exactly what that chaos is supposed to be. And it is so refreshing. It is just kind of this character study of Lorne Michaels. And Gabriel LaBelle, who plays him, fantastic job. Also glad he was nominated for a Golden Globe. And it's just so good. The cinematography, the lighting, the acting, it's so good. I'm sorry, I need to find more adjectives than so good, but that is what it is. To see these stories of the opening night of Saturday Night Live really intrigues you. Like, this is stuff that happened, most of it, given there are some things they changed for the movie. But most of the stuff actually happened, and they persevered. And just the idea of, like, creating something and being not exactly sure what it is such a profound message for an artist, I think. And it just kind of shows that you shouldn't give up on what you want to do. And I really think that Lorne Michaels' story is very interesting. And I'm glad this movie was made because it's such an interesting story. Having all these huge personalities around you, Chevy Chase, John Belushi, Dan Aykroyd, it's gotta be crazy. I mean, and they portray them so well, the actors who play those characters. I'll flash them on screen now. These guys, all of them are so good. Every character is so endearing. And, yeah, it just is the perfect controlled chaos movie. It feels exactly like what it feels like to be in the midst of a production that could go under. So Y2K just came out. And I don't think it's like the best movie of all time, but god damn is it fun. It follows these two kids, and the whole first half of this movie feels kind of like Superbad. It kind of feels like a Seth Rogen coming-of-age comedy with these two characters. The one guy is the kid from not Stranger Things, It. He's the kid from It, and the other guy is the kid from Deadpool 2. And they have great chemistry together, and it's really fun just to see them interact, and it's really fun just to see their friendship. And the kid from It, I'm sorry, I don't remember their names, but you're probably seeing them on the background here. He wants to get laid, and he wants to get laid on New Year's Eve in 1999. And Y2K is heavily approaching. Their version of Y2K is a little bit different. So when midnight hits, all the technology comes together and creates giant robots that go and attack the city. And that's kind of where the horror aspect comes in. And it's fun to just kind of see this ragtag group of characters go through this. It feels like a product of 1999. It feels like a horror movie that would have been made then. It's an A24 movie, and it's just so fun, dude. Limp Bizkit is heavily involved in this movie. I love Limp Bizkit. Limp Bizkit is a huge part of the story of this movie. It is hilarious. To me, at least. I think it is great what happens in the third act of this movie. You just gotta go see it. You gotta go see it because I don't want to spoil it to you. Late Night with the Devil. Ooh, baby. This one's good. I love the format in which this is presented. They kind of present it like this is found footage. And you definitely know what a found footage movie is. Blair Witch Project. But it kind of has like ARG elements to it, which is so cool. So we're seeing this final late night show done by this guy. It's been a while since I saw the movie. But it's David Dastmalchian, I believe is how you pronounce his name. And you've seen him in tons of things. And he has a Halloween show. And he brings this little girl on who was part of a cult. And demonic things start happening. And he's just kind of forced to face his reality. And there's stuff about other cults in here that reference real life cults. And the format in which it is presented is just so interesting. They shot it like a real late night show, and then when it cuts, you kind of have this shaky cam footage of them backstage. He does such a good job in this. The emotions are so good, and he just portrays this kind of broken man so well. I'm so glad to see him in a leading role because he is fantastic. He's been a side character in so many things. I'm just so glad to see him here. And yeah, this one, it's fun. It's a little heavier, but it's a really interesting watch. And I don't want to spoil too much for you. because it's just a really interesting movie. Late Night with the Devil. It was one of the earlier movies this year. The only thing I don't really like is that they did use AI in this movie, which is something that I'm kind of firmly against. Not kind of, it's something I'm firmly against. But they used it in kind of a harmless way. I don't condone the use of the AI, but they just use it in these kind of screens in between where it's these little illustrations of like Halloween-y stuff. And I don't mind it so much, but I couldn't tell. But I wish they would have hired somebody to do that instead, because that does take away from jobs in the film industry. I'm going to leave it there, but this movie is great. Go support it. Just, guys, industry. Don't use AI. Please. We just had a writer's strike. We don't need another. How did we let Furiosa fail? How did we let this happen? It's so good! Okay, I didn't get into Mad Max until recently too. Very much like Sonic, I didn't get in Terrifier. I didn't get into this franchise until this movie was coming out. These are so good! How have I not seen these? These are fantastic. Mad Max 2 and Fury Road are peak cinema, dude. These are action movies. And I don't say that a lot. Why? It's like T2 levels. It's so good. Okay, so Furiosa is the prequel to Fury Road. I'm gonna get my complaints out of the way right away. It's a little too much CGI, and it's kind of noticeable. Going from Fury Road, which is this monumental task in visual effects, so many practical explosions and effects, it is mind-boggling, dude. This, it don't look like the greatest, but what it makes up in is the performances. Anya Taylor-Joy is kind of one of those actresses who are kind of like she's once in a lifetime. She's so good in every role I've seen her. Even in like something like The New Mutants, she was carrying that movie. She did a good job. And The Menu, oh my god, she's great in The Menu. This, I believe it. I believe that she is a young Charlize Theron. Furiosa is such an interesting character, and what I absolutely love about George Miller's storytelling is the use of silence. There is barely any dialogue in this movie. It is fantastic, and when it is, it's being delivered by Dementis. Chris Hemsworth is going all out, dude. I love him in almost every role he's been in, too. I even liked him in the 2016 Ghostbuster. I'll say it. He was fun. This is so good. Like, Immortum Joe. He was a fine villain in Fury Road. He gets expanded here. Dementis, dude. That's where it's at. Joe has this kind of big energy. Dementis has just this demented energy. I don't know how else to put it. And he just embodies this character so well, and he does psychotic so well. And I love, this Peach IC is doing numbers to me, but he just does such a fun job in this role. I love George Miller. I want to see his other movies besides Mad Max, but I've fallen in love with his storytelling, especially just the body language. He emphasizes so much on frame and body language, and it's so interesting. If you get a chance to see the Fury Road behind the scenes, do it. Okay, so the final video game I'm going to talk about, and I haven't completed this one either, but it's one I've been wanting to play for such a long time that finally got re-released now. Silent Hill 2. I was not ready for this game. It is so good. I knew it had been kind of like one of these giants in video game topics. Like, this is one of the best horror games of all time. And as much as I like horror movies, I'm not really a big fan of horror games. It stopped recording. I don't know how much of the Silent Hill 2 part it got, but it is one of the most unique and cool stories that I've played in a video game. It's good. Go play it. Anyways. Hundreds of Beavers. Let's talk about Hundreds of Beavers. This is my #1 movie of the year. I love this movie. It is so good. So Looney Tunes, but live action. No, not Space Jam. No. It is done by a very small team. These guys right here, and it is just such a unique experience. It is the most unique watch you'll ever find in a film. It takes elements from silent films, video games, and Looney Tunes to create this masterpiece. And that is what I think it is. It is a masterpiece. This is my #1 movie of the year. This is my #1 media of the year. And it is so incredibly good. And I don't want to talk about it too much. You're seeing it on screen. Look at this thing. They use puppetry, they use stop motion, they use animation. They use all these neat VFX tricks, and they use costumes. Costumes are a huge part of this. But the VFX took them 4 years to complete. 4 years! And it looks silly, and I love it. Because it all adds to the charm. This is such a unique movie aesthetically, musically, acting-wise, because there are 2 lines in this movie. And I believe the only word ever uttered is, "What?" That's it! That's the only word! And except for the beginning, where there was a song with lyrics in it. And it's just such a cool movie. You will not find anything like this done in the mainstream. It was indie. It was done on a shoestring budget. It took them years to complete the final project. And this is what it turned out to be. And I couldn't be more happy with it. I love this. I love this. This right here is great. This right here is garbage. But this is what we need more of. This is so unique, and this is what happens when you let a creative just go completely all out. This is a visionary completing his vision to the very end, and I couldn't be more happy that he did. I'm not going to say much more, but just please, if there's anything you're going to watch from this, watch this. Because this is so deserving of it. I know the Oscars aren't going to nominate it. I know the Oscars aren't going to nominate it. I know that. But in my heart, this is Best Picture. And you may like it, you may not. Depends on your the tolerance you have for campiness and silliness. I wouldn't even call it campy. I would just call it fun. This is one of the most this is as much fun as you'll ever have with a movie. Right here, it is one of the funniest movies I've seen in a long time, and it really made me laugh a lot. It is very much in the vein of slapstick humor and Looney Tunes-esque humor. So if it's not for you, I understand that. But if you enjoy those types of things, go watch this. Thank you for listening to my insane ramblings. It's late at night. I'm tired. I don't even know where I am right now. We'll see. I could be anywhere. Yeah. Thank you so much for watching. And I'll see you all on the next one. I drank all this on the last take of mine, but I'll do it again. Delicious. Driplet. Yeah, like, subscribe, do the YouTube things. And the Choice of Life Part 2 will be coming out soon. It will be the final part. Sorry to keep you guys waiting. I'm just trying to work really well on the editing. It may take a while. I just want to make sure it's really good because it's something that I have been wanting to do for a while. I just want to get the first part out by Christmas, and it turned into a larger project. So we'll see that soon, and hopefully you'll see some more smaller reviews coming down the pipeline as well, and some short films. So look forward to all that. School does start up soon, so it will be slower. I mean, yeah, you know, it's been slow. But thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all later. Bye.